Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Meek again. Welcome to a new video. You guys, it's the raining season right now in Tanzania, so we have all of these really strong rains, and the rain has just stopped and it was so bad right now. So I'm going to try and film my video now. If it ends up raining again, just ignore the rain in the background because the raining season is really serious this time. It has been raining so hard. Okay, so today's video is a bit of a mixture. We're just going to talk about a bunch of things. I feel like I kind of want to make today's video like a cornucopia of topics. So we're going to talk about a wide range of things today, and then at the end we're going to talk about a non-luxury hot topic. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that the lawsuit that was filed against Big H by a bunch of customers was thrown out. It was an antitrust lawsuit. And as the lawsuit has been progressing in the American courts, we've really been learning respectfully how ridiculous the plaintiffs are. So the three people who brought the lawsuit ahead. Turns out, according to an article that I'm reading here, that Big H has actually said that these people have actually been offered Birkins like way before. And I think at least two of them have actually been offered Birkins from the store. Big H also low-key said that they, the people who have brought the lawsuit ahead, are basically resellers. So what this sounds like to me is that Big H banned people who are resellers, and they were mad and then decided to sue the brand. So what happened was last autumn, it was thrown out, and then they came back and amended the lawsuit. So it's in the courts again. But to me, this looks like Big H is going to win because they managed to get it thrown out at the first time. And then there was something that was super interesting here. The article says the plaintiffs, according to Big H, the plaintiffs are manipulating market definitions in an attempt to depict the company as a monopolistic force. Initially, plaintiffs labeled the market as the Birkin handbag market, exclusively comprising of Big H products. After Hermes challenged this narrow definition, plaintiffs broadened it to include competitors like Gucci and Louis Vuitton. Now the plaintiffs have redefined the market again, limiting it to elitist luxury handbags, an approach Hermes argues is contrived. I mean, honestly, this is like, this is the definition of like turning up to a fight without weapons, and the other person has heaps of weapons to fight you with. I mean, you're going up against 1837, honey. Okay, we're talking about a company that has survived 2 world wars. Okay, this company was, Terry Hermes was running around in the 1840s, making saddles. These people are not punks. You're not going to roll up and run up on them, okay? Because the plaintiffs tried to run up on Big H, and Big H was like, let me stop you right there. Okay, I have to say I agree. What is the Birkin handbag market if you're not a reseller? If you're a reseller, you're going to think it's the Birkin handbag market. If you're someone who loves high-end handbags from a wide range of brands, you're going to see it for what it is, which is the luxury handbag market. Okay, the article continues. Hermes claims this narrow classification artificially inflates Hermes's market power by excluding direct competitors. Now, this is interesting. This is what I want to tell you. The fashion house argues, and I'm so happy to read this because I remember fighting with someone on TikTok about who Big H's competitors are. So I wanted to just mention something that they say here. The fashion house argues that this elitist luxury handbags category omits brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, which courts might consider as valid competitors to Hermes. I have always said this, that Hermes's competitors are not Loro Piana or Brunello Cucinelli, or other like quiet luxury brands. Hermes's competitors are like the maximalist girls, honey. Big LV, honey, big Gucci, okay, Fendi. Those are the competitors for the brand. There's no question about it. So it was really interesting to see that was added. Hermes argues that the grievances at the core of the complaint, including the plaintiff's disappointment in limited Birkin availability, are personal and do not reflect broader harm to competition. According to Hermes, the plaintiffs are not obligated to purchase additional items from Hermes as they have the option to buy the Birkin from secondary markets. I love this brand. In the Big H world, people love the brand because it's so beautifully made. It's so this. I love their business shenanigans, honey. Give me Big H's business shenanigans over their craftsmanship any day. I'm all about the way these people play games in business. Big H is not slick. She is low-key calling them for what they are, which is resellers. Basically saying, you don't have to buy ancillary products. You don't have to buy Birkin Bay because you can go and buy the Birkins on the resale market. This means that Big H knows that they're resellers, or at the very least resell their personal collection. In its motion, Hermes highlights that the plaintiff's claims center more on personal dissatisfaction rather than competitive harm. And basically they just go on to say, that they haven't done, anything wrong. And then the final thing that I thought was really interesting, the plaintiffs cited language on Hermes's website, which they interpreted as suggesting that the Birkin was readily obtainable. Hermes counters this interpretation and that it misrepresents the original context, which referred to product characteristics, not widespread availability. Hermes argues that the plaintiffs have twisted ordinary statements to imply that anyone can acquire Birkin on demand, which is an unrealistic interpretation according to the motion. Okay, we're inside now because it's just so loud outside with the rain. So let's carry on. And then the final thing that I wanted to read from here, and then we'll chat about it, is Hermes disputes that plaintiffs' claims that its sales associates are encouraging customers to buy the products with the promise of increasing their chances of securing a Birkin. The brand argues that no specific interactions substantiate this claim have been documented in the complaint. Moreover, Hermes highlights that two of the plaintiffs were able to obtain Birkins through their purchases, suggesting no direct harm from the alleged misrepresentations. I mean, the bottom line is, the plaintiffs of this lawsuit, please just take the L. Okay, sometimes you have to take an L. Something happens and you have to take the L, and you're like, okay, look, I'm taking an L today. Take the L and go away quietly. You are going up against a process crocodile in the form of a business. This is literally like going up against a crocodile and you can't run. And we know that crocodiles and alligators are fast on their feet. Why are you going up against them? Why? Once I had found out that they had actually been offered like quota offers from the store before the lawsuit, and it wasn't like they were offered like to stop them from getting the lawsuit, like to putting the lawsuit in motion. They were offered the bags, okay? But they felt like they had to do too much, essentially, to get offered these bags. Anyway, the first lawsuit was thrown out. They amended their complaint, and it's now back in the U.S. courts. Big H have hired the best of the best law firm to help them with this case. They have hired the best lawyers that money can buy. They are a multi-billion-dollar brand. They are one of the top-tier luxury girls, honey. This is David versus Goliath, except this time Big H is Goliath and she's David. Okay, so I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for these people. I don't feel sorry for anyone who shops at Big H. I don't feel sorry that you didn't get your quota bag. I don't feel sorry that you have to play the game. Everyone plays the game at the store. Everyone plays the game. You are not special that you don't have to play the game. The only people who don't play the game are celebrities, royals, and really, really, really famous influencers. Maybe even the first lady of a country or something can walk into a boutique and just walk out or something. I'm sure that's fine. But unless you're really, really famous, you're a royal, you're a super famous influencer, or maybe you're like a really, really famous politician, you're going to have to play the game like everyone else. So, with all due respect to the plaintiffs, honey, get over yourself. Everyone is playing the game. You are not special that you don't have to play the game. And I just don't feel sorry for these people. To me, this is such a privileged thing to do. It's so privileged. This reeks of I have too much money and I have too much time on my hands. The money you're spending paying the lawyers so that you can sue Big H could be money that you could be using at Cartier, at Van Cleef. You could go buy a Lambo, you could buy Rolls Royce, you could go buy a jet. You could do so much more other things with that money. And what are you going to achieve? Big H now also is letting us know that she knows that the top tier spenders, that's another theme of this lawsuit being thrown out. Big H knows that the top tier spenders at the store, many of them are resellers. Because low key, they're saying here that they believe that the plaintiffs engaged in resale activity by basically saying, you can't say that we are, we're forcing you to buy things, because you could easily go on the secondary market and buy a Birkin or Kelly if you so wish. And they're also low-key calling them resellers by saying there's no such thing as a Birkin handbag market. There is such a thing for you because you have created it in your head, because you view these things as something that has a lot of value in the resale market. If you care so much about how Birkins are viewed in the resale market, you're probably someone who is planning on reselling them later. Honestly, I don't know about you. I've said this before. I don't think high-end luxury handbags are investments. I don't think they're assets. And I have to say, like, why do you care, like, the value of these bags? Okay, it's not like it's an investment or it's a stock or it's like a bond or something, at a bank. I have to say I agree with the pony on this. I hate to say it really, because I hate that I have to agree with this like super successful, billion-dollar company, but they're right. I mean, and to boot, you have already received offers and you're moaning and whinging about, the fact that you have to play the game like everyone else. Everyone plays the game at this brand. You are not special. Sorry, just the lighting here. You're not special that you don't have to play the game. We all have to play the game. So why are you so special that you don't have to do it? With exception of the situation in the UK, and even in the UK, there are a lot of British glamazons who've told me that, interestingly enough, wishes always, are fulfilled. The wish list is fulfilled for people who are popping into the boutique and picking things up. It's not one-to-one or anything like that. It's not one-to-one, it's not two-to-one, but it's definitely people who are still periodically popping in and buying a scarf or buying some shoes and so on and so forth. So, it's thrown out. I don't feel sorry for these people whatsoever. These are just massive first world problems, especially like right now, like with all the sort of like craziness going on in the world. The world is so like nuts right now. There's so much going on. I don't know, it just kind of feels a little bit, there's something about this lawsuit that feels a little tone deaf to me. Like, who cares? I mean, who cares that you had to, show your loyalty? One could argue, frankly, that you should show your loyalty if you love Big H that much and you love their craftsmanship. I've already told you guys where I stand. I'm all about them with the business, because that's where Big H is more interesting to me with business stuff. You guys, you can keep the craftsmanship stuff. I find the business stuff way more interesting. They're literally like, hey, but we already offered you stuff. Why? And they're literally telling them, why are you so pressed about the Birkin handbag market? That doesn't exist to us because we don't believe in people reselling items. I think one of the things that I've noticed like as well about luxury is the sort of recalibration of luxury right now. I was thinking like lately, I don't want like every video I do to be just like, like talking about this topic and stuff, but there is a lot of stuff that's been happening, which I think is probably worth us discussing. So I was on Instagram and I saw this post. I think many of you have already seen it as well. It's from a guy called Matt. He's like a Louis Vuitton, I think he's like a Louis Vuitton influencer, but he's also a Louis Vuitton reseller. And he like exclusively deals with the men's collection. So he put a post on his Instagram. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's very long, but I'll basically summarize and I'll just pull a few things that he said. So he was essentially, just to summarize the beginning, he was talking about how he mainly just posts like men's stuff from the men's collection, but then he started posting the Murakami collection, which is from the women's collection. And then he said, I received hundreds, if not thousands of messages and I couldn't believe it, but I did somehow manage to the best of my ability, but it became very tiring and it definitely has shown in my attitude. Some will say I am mean/rude when I've blatantly put things in story posts for sale. For salespeople such as only this items, no others, be serious. The truth is, I'm trying to avoid endless messages that are not needed because I'm trying to help a salesperson make it easy for them, but of course make it easy for me. Remember, I don't get paid for that. So for those of you who aren't aware, he just like posts like new releases, and he'll post like essay information. He's not paid by Louis Vuitton. He doesn't work for Louis Vuitton, but he also resells like things that people, maybe someone will be like, hey, I want to resell this like pocket organizer, from the men's collection. And then he'll be like, someone is selling this, and then, whatever. I mean, obviously, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know like how it works for him. I'm sure on the resale side, perhaps he gets something, but he's not paid by Louis Vuitton or anything like that. And he has said that before, that he's not being paid to do this. So he's not being paid to like share new arrivals and tell us all the new things. He, generally speaking, only really posts from the men's collection. But when the Murakami re-edition came out, which is from the women's collection, he was like posting it. And that's when things really like, took off, and for him, and his Instagram handle really grew, and so on and so forth. But he is like reminding us that he doesn't get paid. He's like, I'm not saying you or whomever cannot feel a certain way about the words I mentioned, but you're not on this side of the phone. I am. And before anyone wants to point fingers, yes, I put myself in this situation. Yes, I offer such services for salespeople to get business. Yes, I offer to post for people who are looking for a specific item. Murakami excluded because everyone wants that, and I just post a salesperson if they ended up with it. And yes, I even offer a service to help people sell their LV, Murakami, and women's excluded. He's not involved in like women's. Yeah, that's the thing I want to say. I'm not making any excuse for my attitude. This is just how it's affecting me. I have to protect my peace and my time. So this is in reference to like when he was posting the Murakami pieces. I follow his Instagram. What would happen is in a lot of the comments for certain Instagram posts, someone would be like, how much is this? And he's literally written how much it was in the caption. I have to say, I would find that very frustrating. It takes 2 seconds for you to open up a caption to see how much something is. Don't be that annoying person who's like looking on Instagram. Your first thing you want to do is run to the comment section because you want to be first. Read the caption. Yeah, I have to say, I agree. I have this conversation multiple times a day with people, and honestly, it's exhausting because sadly, it doesn't lead to them posting the item or the item ever selling. The endless daily loop of endless conversation is draining. I'm fully aware I put myself in this position offering the service, so I'm not blaming anyone. The reasons I feel like things have taken a drastic change for resale, this is where it gets very interesting, is nothing is rare. We all know LV restocks. Yes, even Multico. You saw me post salespeople taking orders months after launch. I've heard about restocks, no clue when, for Cherry Blossom, as it's a 3 to 4 month lifespan. Yeah, I agree with that because they are restocks, and there are things that are popping up. Not everything is getting restocked, at least on the European and the UK websites, but there are things popping up again. And I know the employees are just doing their jobs, but even many have told me they know it's all BS. Sadly, this hype and fantasy they sell in store to the customer carries over to the resale side. And when the seller realizes the truth, they cannot fathom the idea that taking a loss because it's rare, seasonal, and limited. Truth be told, you will realistically never have something that someone else doesn't have. Well said. Well said. I agree completely. Even my custom trunks, someone can have the same thing as me. Now, of course, this can be case by case, but like every P9 Speedy, for example, I've helped sell when below retail. And guess what? They've restocked them. I mean, they're going to restock them. I was really surprised that people thought that like Pharrell's Speedies were like never going to be restocked. I'm really shocked that people think this. This is like Pharrell's flagship handbag for the men's collection at Louis Vuitton. Why wouldn't they restock it? Yes, that is not the everyday buy bag due to price point, true, but there's so much stuff there below retail from almost all season collections. It's basically flooding the market. Don't even get me started on Virgil's items. It's time to get over it. You may not like Pharrell, and that's okay, but many people do. It's all subjective. But if Virgil's stuff was so great, then why is it not keeping its value? That's a rhetorical question. Let's now talk about how every month something new is coming out. Surely this would have an impact on resale. This is fast fashion at its finest, people. It's the same stuff over and over, but with a new print on the monogram or the damier. Or a new color leather. There is no time to truly enjoy what you bought the month before, yet the item you bought the month before is so rare. Some people will blame the design team, and you can all you want, but I'm the least creative person out there, so I give them credit. Do we really need another blue or yellow shade tiger rama? Come on, it's the same shit all over again. Oh wow, another color of Torillon leather, mind blowing. Color mania round two, basically all the same colors, but a different shade. More 9,000 US dollar speedy bags in a different color, and so many repeat offenders. I cannot be the only one who feels this way, but I know so many are having the time of their life with this stuff, and I'm happy for you. However, I've put 22 years of my life following LV and 20. So sorry, he didn't write that. He said, I have put 22 years of following LV and 21 years of buying, and now watching the shift changes he uses these words. I'm sorry, I can't repeat them on YouTube, so I'll just exclude that bit. When you think about it, as time goes on, all of this stuff becomes less desirable because new stuff is coming out monthly, which isn't helping your resale value. This is by design. Louis Vuitton knows what they're doing. We'll talk about this in a minute. For those of you who stayed this long, I appreciate you taking your time to read this. I guess I could say the whole point of this is I'm exhausted. This isn't fun anymore. I feel like I'm just posting out of habit and nothing else. There's nothing to benefit me doing this besides being everyone's free source of LV content. It seems like my love for LV will always be there, but honestly, I'm over it. I recently sold 29 of my items and I'm ready to get rid of my entire collection. These items just don't appeal to me anymore because there'll always be more. How many pocket organizers do I really need? How many work bags do I need? Do I really need another 3,000, 5,000 handbag to walk the 30 feet into work from my car and let the bag sit there all day, knowing the next month another variation will probably come out? It's true. I mean, he's absolutely spot on. He's completely spot on. He chats about a bunch of all other things here. And then there's another interesting tidbit here that he says I want to just read to you. Like I mentioned earlier, this isn't fun. It's a lot of work. I don't just press a button and info and photos are given to me. It's work and no benefit. Yes, I know many appreciate it, and that's what makes me feel bad for considering ending it all. And yes, a few close people I chat to have told me to just take a break. When I had that 3-day ban, I think he's talking about when he was banned on Instagram not long ago, I didn't even care if I got my account back, and I still feel the same way now. It was so nice not to get hundreds of messages a day. Of course, all the messages I missed were there when I got the account back. After Foxy LV lost her account, this just for those of you who are not following Louis Vuitton, Foxy LV was another really massive like Louis Vuitton reseller slash influencer, and she would post the women's collection. Matt would post men's and she would post women's, and then she disappeared from Instagram. I think it's been like more than a year now. She has not been on Instagram. I think she was having some health issues, and then she just stopped posting. But we'll talk about her in a minute as well. She told me at the time it was such a weight off her shoulders. She felt free. It all makes sense now because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So here's the thing. I think it's really great that he was like being really vulnerable and very honest. He's very like direct in the way he speaks. I enjoy his page. I like seeing what's coming from the men's collection so I can be up to date with all things Louis Vuitton. But there are a few things that we need to talk about. First of all, I think it's well known if you follow Louis Vuitton and if you're a Louis Vuitton glamazon, you know this. If you're not a Louis Vuitton person, you might not know this. Louis Vuitton really doesn't like pages that post leaks. They really, really, really don't like this. Anyone who's like a Louis Vuitton glamazon who likes the brand, you'll notice that sometimes there'll be someone who will be posting Louis Vuitton leaks. And then they'll disappear, their page disappears, and then they stop posting because they've been told by Louis Vuitton, do not post leaks. I think something happened with Foxy LV's account because I do remember there was a period where she would post leaks, but she was posting them as a subscription, so you had to pay her. Now for me, it's like, I love Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton's one of my favorite brands, but I'm just, I think I've said this before, but I'm not paying for a luxury membership to a luxury focused account or page. The only memberships or Patreons I would pay for are like commentators who are talking about like world affairs and issues. So there's one commentator I like called Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. So I am happy to support his like endeavors, but he's like a political and cultural commentator. I'm not going to do a membership for your subscription or whatever if it's luxury. It's just a personal decision for me. It's not shade or trying to hate on anyone. he is right when he says that this is work and it is labor, but at the same time it's labor that no one asked him to do it, and he acknowledges that. Now, she had like a subscription and then she just disappeared. She was feeling, I think, unwell for a period of time. I think she's actually just genuinely disappeared. People were saying that, you know, she's still around, but she's just not posting on Instagram anymore, and she's not posting leaks anymore. She's not the only one. There are other Louis Vuitton pages that used to post leaks, pictures of up and coming collections, and then they just stop posting. And they stop posting. This leads me to think that Louis Vuitton is really clear that they really do not like people who are posting leaks, who are basically Louis Vuitton influencers, but also use that page to resell. Now, he hasn't hinted to that, but I can imagine it has to be super exhausting, posting leaks, posting new things. You're not being compensated for it. It's going to be really difficult to ask people to subscribe to you posting leaked pictures, which you don't own because you didn't take the picture. Okay, you were sent the picture by someone from Louis Vuitton. And I think that a lot of people in luxury find that difficult. You know, it's kind of like the whole discussion about luxury memberships, you know, for the girls. You know, the girls on YouTube were like, hey, so, you know, pay for my, you know, luxury membership. You know, I'm not paying a YouTuber for a luxury membership, you guys. Okay, I'm not doing that. Okay, like I've said, I'll pay memberships for like political, you know, commentators and things like that. That's fine if they have like a worldview that I agree with or that I find interesting, but I'm not doing it for luxury. Now, it's a tough one because does he deserve to like be paid and compensated for his time? Absolutely. There should be a way to like make money from it, but without selling like access to leaked pictures and leaked information. Because I think that's a great way of really ticking people off. Now, it's a tough one because we all benefit from him posting those pictures. I definitely do, because I've shared pictures from his account and I've credited him in the description, because that's what I do with my images now. I'll leave image credits in the description. But I can see like how this would annoy Louis Vuitton. Now, to be fair, he has not mentioned anything about Louis Vuitton or anything like that. I'm sure it's fine. But I can see how it can be super exhausting for him. And he's completely right. There's always something new. There's always something churning. But I must say, I don't have a problem with Louis Vuitton creating as much product as possible. I'm going to tell you why. There's nothing inherently wrong with fast fashion. We've talked about this before. I've said this many times in my lives, in my videos. Fashion isn't a hierarchy, in my opinion. It's an ecosystem. And an ecosystem is a much healthier way of looking at the fashion industry. If you see Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Gucci, Prada, Chanel, Ferragamo, Alaya, Cartier, VCA here, but you see Zara, ASOS, Mango, Bershka, River Island, and you see them here. There's a symbiotic relationship. Everyone benefits in some way. The fast fashion girls benefit, but fundamentally speaking, the brands benefit too in a strange way when their ideas get ripped off. I remember River Island once. I was just on River Island's website, and there was a very, 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 this was many years ago now, they had like a dupe of this Gucci cardigan that I loved. I thought it was so gorgeous. And there was a friend of mine who was like, oh my God, I love that cardigan as well. And she was like, oh my God, is that like one of their original ideas? I'm like, oh no, babe, it's a dupe from a Gucci cardigan. But it did remind me of the Gucci cardigan. So sometimes you can see things on fast fashion and you're like, oh yeah, that's over here. Let me go buy it over here, or let me go buy it over there. So the idea that it's fast fashion, I mean, there are many people in the world. I think it's really self-centered to think you and your friends who like luxury are the only people in the world who like luxury. And therefore, because brands are making too much product that you're not willing to buy, that it's fast fashion. I don't agree with that. And I agree with him when he said, it is not possible for you to be the only person who has something. This is why I don't understand when the girls are saying that Big H is too common. I don't want something that everyone has. Eventually there will be someone else who has something that you want, or who has something that you have. That's how markets operate. A market does not exist off one glamazon wanting to be the only person who has something. That's not how markets work and markets exist. So I have to say, I agree with him when he says it's not possible for you to be the only person. But at the same time, when he says that Louis Vuitton is fast fashion, Louis Vuitton have to produce a lot of product because they have so many customers around the world. If you're watching this and you're a Louis Vuitton glamazon, you're not the only Louis Vuitton glamazon in the world. You might live in America and you're like, wow, I love Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton might make products that are for the States, but there might be products that do really well in South Africa and do really well for the African market. There might be products that do really well in the Middle East. There might be products that do really well in Japan, in China, in Vietnam, in Australia, and in different parts of Europe and in Latin America as well, and the West Indies. There are different products for different people. So I think it's, I don't know, guys, there's something to me that feels a little bit, to me, and this isn't about Matt, this is just a general comment about this discussion, because I think his post has sparked a really interesting discussion. I think it's really kind of self-centered to think you're the only person who has interest at Louis Vuitton, and you think Louis Vuitton is making too much stuff. There are many people around the world who shop at Louis Vuitton and who like Louis Vuitton, and there are many different tastes and interests. Louis Vuitton wants to meet the demand for their massive, massive, massive clientele, and they are regional tastes, they're national tastes, they're tastes by culture. For example, just putting it out there, in Western culture, red is the color of danger. Red is the color, like on traffic lights, you put stop. In my culture in Tanzania, red is the color that traditional warriors in different ethnic groups in Tanzania would wear. They'd wear the color red as a sign of strength. In Asia, red is a positive color, and it's very much loved and adored as well. So different things mean different things in different cultures. Louis Vuitton cannot make 10 products a month for all of their stores worldwide. That is not realistic. Frankly, if I'm honest, I think that people are annoyed that Louis Vuitton is making too much product because people feel like it decreases the value of their items. But it is a luxury item. It's not a business. It's not meant to have an external value. It's not. And honestly, I have to say, I think this is one reason why I don't like the resale market. I think I mentioned this in the live, I saw a Louis Vuitton Alma, like the big one, in Epis from 2011. It was on Farfetch. Someone, like a boutique, is selling it, like through Farfetch. I was very intrigued. I was very interested. I almost pulled the trigger on it. But I was too late. Like the next day I went to look at it in my wish list. It was already sold out. Now, you might be like, and it was like $800 in a bigger market, a more buoyant market, it'd be like 2,000 USD. But now things are quiet. Maybe people are trying to offload things because there's just so much inventory on the resale market. No one is owed this idea that luxury goods have to have resale value. If you're a reseller, you are invested in the idea that luxury goods have an inherent secondary market value. I don't think luxury products have a value beyond the person who first bought it. The real value comes in maybe something like if you own something that was worn by Princess Diana, or one of the original outfits from Moschino that Princess Diana wore. There's value in that, or something that Elizabeth Taylor, who was known for having a gorgeous jewelry collection. If you own something from Liz Taylor, or maybe you own some of the diamonds Dorothy Dandridge wore, or if you own diamonds that Marilyn Monroe wore, there is value in something like that because it has cultural significance. But this idea that you should buy a Capucine because you think it's going to hold its value, or you should buy a Birkin or Kelly because you think it's going to hold its value. You're going to see, baby, even Big H's bags right now on the resale market, they're not holding their value the way that they did. I think that focusing too much on resale and value really ruins the luxury experience. Definitely for me, even discussing luxury, I think many of you have noticed this, like, I don't like discussions about, well, what do you think will hold value? Because I just don't care. I think you should buy things that you like based on aesthetics and your tastes and interests and function. For me, I have to buy things I like. I have to buy things that I think are really cool and that I like. Because at the end of the day, I'm the person who has to use my money, to get it. So to a certain degree, I kind of wonder if Louis Vuitton is like, are they like releasing a lot of product also to kind of crush the resale market? They might be doing that, and it's working because the Louis Vuitton resale market is literally finished. He talks about it here in his post. There was a slide in his post that I didn't read, but he was saying how every year, like after the panoramic, the amount of people who've been selling items through him has been decreasing, and the sales have been decreasing, like the people who are just coming. It's because the market is gone. The market is finished. If you have money right now and you have the coins and you have the bread, why would you go and buy a Capucine that has been used, unless it was like a very specific Capucine on the resale market? You could probably just go to the store. The Capucine is, in my opinion, is priced well in the Torillon leather. You probably just go to the store, you get the experience. They will take you so seriously if you buy that, because that's their flagship product. We know that Louis Vuitton see the Capucine as their flagship item. Like, you could just go to the store and take that money and buy something brand new. You get the experience. You'll be invited to events. The CA will be inviting you to things, sending you lookbooks, versus you going on the resale market and buying a Capucine. In this market right now, I think that the people who have the money can just take the money and go to the store versus playing around in the resale market. But that's how I see it. I thought it was really interesting. He made a lot of really great points, but at the same time, I have to say, like I said, no one told you to post those things. You don't have to do it. This isn't a job where you're being paid. I mean, even for me with this page, it's a hobby. I have a good time posting here. I only come here if I want to. If I want to film a video for you guys, I turn the phone on, honey. Right now I'm filming on my phone because I'm in the process of getting a new camera. I don't know if I told you, but dropped my camera and like the lens chassis, so that's just a mess. So I have to get a new camera, but I come on here and I film a video for you guys because I'm excited to do it. Of course, like with YouTube, okay, fine, you get some coins, whatever, every month. I mean, it's not substantial. It's not even enough money to like maintain my lifestyle, but it's like, okay, cool, whatever. Of course, there should be some compensation for his efforts and his work, but it's your job as the business owner, influencer, creator, entrepreneur to figure out how to monetize your efforts, not so much monetizing the content, but monetizing your efforts. So maybe in his case, maybe a better thing for him to do would maybe be like create a Facebook group, like that's private and that maybe people can pay to access, and then he can maybe share things there, not necessarily sharing leaks, but he can maybe figure something else there so that he can get some compensation for his time, because he does put a lot of effort into his page and it does help many people. But at the end of the day, Louis Vuitton know how to make it really hard. They do not want people to make money off leaks and off content. So I see both sides, and it is what it is. I think if you are watching this and you're a Louis Vuitton glamazon, you're a Big H glamazon, you're a Chanel glamazon, a Dior glamazon, you're into shopping brands, now is the time to shop at the store. I have been dragged by so many brands. I think I was sent a birthday message by Versace one year, and Longchamp sent me a birthday message last year. But I just got I just heard from Moschino, and I just got sent a lookbook. I've never been sent a Moschino lookbook one day in my life. So that was pretty cool. I showed my husband. I was like, oh my God, look, Moschino contacted me and they're showcasing the spring summer lookbook. And this isn't something that's like online. Now, I love Moschino. It's one of my favorite brands. So I wouldn't want to share the lookbook publicly because I wouldn't want to like ruin anything potentially happening over there. So that was pretty cool. Now, things are, kind of quiet, in the luxury space right now. So maybe there's a chance to shine at brands now. So if you're watching this and you, like shopping in store, now is the time to be seen in store. And now is the time to maybe take a break from, the reseller websites, because you can use that cash in store and you can build your profile. If you care about these things, not everyone cares about going to Fashion Week, getting lookbooks, going to events and all of this stuff. If you care about it, I just thought I'd mention it. So tell me what you think about that. It's a really interesting discussion and it's definitely sparked a lot of views. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. As always, be kind in the comments and stuff, but I definitely want to hear your points of view. Honestly, I see both sides. I see his side, but at the same time, I'm like, no one told you to create this page. I am very uncomfortable with the idea of resellers monetizing leaked content for money. I think that there has to be another way to make money. Maybe he could just take a portion of sales of items that he resells. Perhaps that's a more like a better way of doing it. I don't know. But I have appreciated him sharing posts. I've really appreciated all that he's done for the Louis Vuitton community. So hopefully he'll continue posting. But I understand feeling burnt out and wanting a break. So I can see where he's coming from. Okay, the final thing that I wanted to talk about, and we'll just talk about it super quick. Yeah, it's just kind of just let you guys know how I'm doing, but also just something that had come up in this one, like motherhood group, and it really, really wound me up, but I just have to talk about it. So yeah, like now my son is almost 3 months old, which is insane. I can't believe it. I can't believe I have a whole child, like a human being who's going to call me mom. It's crazy. So I was in this motherhood group and people were talking about night nannies. I have a night nanny. If you don't know what a night nanny is, let me explain. A night nanny is a nanny who comes at night to help with to watch your basically to watch your baby at night and to feed your baby at night and just make sure that they are like getting everything that they need so that you can rest. This newborn period is not for the weak. I mean, the doctors were not kidding when they say the baby wakes up every 2 to 3 hours to eat. He is up every 2 hours. Like every 2 hours, he is awake and he needs to eat. So you can imagine at night, particularly if you're both working. I decided initially when I had found out I was pregnant, I was like, well, I'm going to take a long like maternity leave, but we have so much going on right now with like my business and my company. So I actually decided I'm going to go back to work sooner. And essentially this month is like me back at work. But when I say back at work, I don't mean going to work every day. I mean, maybe just like once a week, but I'm very involved right now with business, and essentially my maternity leave has ended. It was my decision, but it's because we have a lot going on in my company and there's a lot of work to do. And at the end of the day, it's my business. So I want my business to be successful. So I have to be the one driving it. But one of the things that was really interesting in this group was people were talking about night nannies, and there are a lot of these like motherhood Pegasus unicorns. Okay, so these motherhood Pegasus unicorns are even worse than the Hermes Pegasus unicorns. I thought it was bad enough hearing people say how they don't buy anything at Hermes. I never buy anything and I get everything I want. The motherhood Pegasus unicorns, they are even worse. They're like, oh my God, I would never have like a night nanny because like I want to bond with my baby. You can bond with your baby during the daytime. Like, it's really funny today when I was coming here to film this, I was just talking to the other nanny who helps as well, and just now, and she was like, oh, he's following you everywhere and he's listening to your voice. Like when he hears my voice, like that I'm coming, like if I'm coming downstairs, he's like super alert. Even when he's with her, he knows I'm his mother. Okay, we have a strong bond, and that bond is there and it's unbreakable. Even in just 3 months, the bond is there, and it wasn't easy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a Pegasus unicorn. It was not easy. Childbirth for me has not been easy, and the postpartum period hasn't been easy. My labor was like 11 hours. I think I spent like a few hours pushing because I had a natural birth. But after the pushing, I did sustain a tear, and I had to get like surgery to correct that tear. And I had that surgery 2.5 weeks ago. So 2.5 weeks ago, I was in a lot of pain, but I'm not a moaner. I'm not someone who wants to moan and whinge. So I didn't say anything on here. Now I'm basically healing and I'm doing much better and I feel great now. So I don't mind mentioning it now. And even the first 2 weeks of his life, I definitely feel like I had like the baby blues. Someone on TikTok was like, women give birth in a hospital. They give you the baby and they're like, okay, bye, go with your baby. They definitely, I think should be like, I definitely feel like there should be like a course, like maybe 2 weeks before you're due, you should go and have a course. Like, this is what happens after you deliver the baby and they give you the baby and then you go home with the baby. Because it does feel like that. Someone on TikTok was saying that. I responded back like, oh my God, that was how I felt too. Like, I just gave birth to this incredible human being. Put him on my chest. He's with me all the time. I am responsible for this human being's life. It's definitely overwhelming. And there are a lot of hormones and all that stuff. Now, praise God, I don't have postnatal depression or anything like that. It was just like the baby blues. I think for the first fortnight, I had like the baby blues. I was like, oh my god, this is so stressful. I was definitely overwhelmed. But then after 2 weeks, it just went away. There was like one day I woke up and I was feeling really great. But also, I do have a supportive husband. I also have my mom who's really supportive, and also my husband understood the importance of us having childcare providers to support me in this journey. Me and my husband were very clear that I was going to be the primary caregiver. That's fine. In my culture, it's completely normal for women to do most of the child rearing. That's fine. But I think it's been really helpful for me to have these childcare providers. So it was really irritating seeing the way people were talking about this night nanny stuff. It's definitely a luxury. Like, I think in the Western world, night nannies are very expensive. There are a lot of people from the States who are saying how much a night nanny costs. I think they're saying in New York you would look to pay maybe like $400 to $500 a night. I think in the UK it's something like £200 a night, maybe £250 a night. It depends. Might even be £300 a night. So it's not something that's affordable now. Obviously, here the costs are much lower because this is a developing country and we don't have foreign currencies. People are paid in local currency, so it's not a fair comparison to say how much a night nanny in Tanzania would get or a night nanny in Kenya would get, because those of you from the West, unless you live here, you don't understand the cost of living. So it's not worth like saying the amount. But I thought it was really interesting the way people were just reacting to this idea of having a night nanny. It's not that I feel attacked because I have one. I'm super grateful that I have a night nanny. She comes during the week and then she rests on weekends. And then on weekends, it's just like me and my husband. But I stay with Sinai during the night so my husband can rest. And that's fine. I don't mind doing that. He, like, during the maternity leave, he was the one who's supporting us during these like 3 months that I haven't been working. But now, this month I'm like back to work. I'm also now obviously, around working and so on and so forth. So, it was just so interesting to me the way people are so judgmental. And it's like, why do people want women to struggle? Yes, having a night nanny is a luxury. Yes, having two nannies is a luxury. But everyone has the right to kind of figure out life on their own. You don't get a cookie for suffering through motherhood. You don't get a cookie because you got up all the time and you were sleep deprived. Sleep deprivation is really dangerous. It's really unhealthy. Don't forget that you as a woman, like after giving birth, whether you had it, you did it the V way or you had a cesarean, because I can't say that word on here. Whether you had a natural birth or you had a cesarean, like you as a woman need to heal. Like, you also need to heal. I was so grateful that my mom was here for the first month of his life. She stayed with us for the first month, which was so helpful because it allowed me to rest. And then my mom like moved back to her crib, and then we started the process of looking for the childcare providers, which now we have found them, and they're fantastic and wonderful, and it's working out like really well. But like, the way people are so judgmental about it is something which I find so strange. This idea that women have to suffer for things, it's very strange. When I was young, when I first started my business, I really believed that work and labor was like the defining part of being a woman. Like, if I didn't work, I didn't have value. Now I have a completely different mindset to the whole thing, which is that and especially as a Black woman, I think that's such a toxic way of looking at life. Because this idea that women only have value if we work really hard for our money is BS. It's bollocks. Whether you work really hard for your money, whether you've inherited all of the money you have, whether your boo, your man pays for everything, it shouldn't matter. As long as the money is made like through good sources and you're not ripping or hurting someone to get that money, you can spend it, how you want. And I think if you're watching this and maybe you're pregnant or you're thinking about having a baby, get a night nanny, because the sleep deprivation is on another level. In this group, someone was like, well, my mom was just able to come over. I was like, my mom came over too, and I'm so grateful for her support. I tell her all the time how grateful I am for her, and how I was so eternally grateful that she came. But not everyone's mother is able to come and live with them for a month or 2 months or 3 months. Not everyone has that luxury. Some people don't have their mums around. Some people aren't close to their mums. Some people's mums might not physically be able to take on the task of watching a newborn baby. There's so much, there's so many like really irritating people in this space who say these really annoying comments, and I'm still learning about motherhood. It's a work in progress, and everyone has a different view of what's acceptable. There might also be concerns where both of you have really tough jobs. There was someone in this group saying her husband was a surgeon, so he could not help at all. Like at all. Like the most he could do was maybe just hold the baby for 5 minutes every week. So she was the one doing all of the hard work and the heavy lifting for their baby in the first few months of the child's life. So someone like that definitely should get childcare providers to support, so that you also have time to heal, you have time to rest. But in my case as well, so I have time to go back to work and run businesses, because I have employees and I pay them their wages every month. And when I was pregnant, they were getting paid their salaries. When I gave birth, they're still getting paid, they're still working. So I have things I need to do. So if you're watching this and you have like preconceived notions that a woman, you can't bond if there's a nanny, I just want to be clear, it's BS. Okay. I see the way he looks at me. I see the way he is with me. I see the way his eyes, follow me when he hears my voice, when he's with the nannies and stuff. And when I come and get him and, whatever. And I see how he is with me on weekends when it's just me and him. A lot of the times my husband's working, he's going to business meetings. He has a lot of things to do as well. So it's just us. And I see how he is. He knows who I am. He knows I'm his mother, and he loves being with me. So this idea that you're not going to bond with your baby if you have a nanny is absolute rubbish and bollocks. I just want to be clear about that. So just had to rant about that. I thought big H Pegasus unicorns were bad. Motherhood Pegasus unicorns need to be skull dragged. Okay, no. Anyway, you guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think about this format where we do like luxury hot topics and then we do like one hot topic at the end that's not a luxury one. Maybe you can suggest the next luxury hot topics and the next one that isn't one. My brain has melted ever since I had this baby. It's just been melting down. Let me know what you think about everything. You know where to find me. I'm on Instagram. I can't speak. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok as High Glamazon Lux. I also have a Facebook page, High Glamazon, and then there's a group as well. You can join that. But critically, go join the newsletter. I would love to see you there. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you guys, and I'll see you very soon in my next video.